This is Pamela Kuhn, and the curtain is up on Center Stage, the show about the arts and the artists behind their work. We are on the threshold of saying goodbye to the year 2020. Not only do these words give me a shiver of fear, but they engage within me an earnestness to embrace 2021 with the outstretched arms of hope. I'm going to brandish about the word grateful right now. We have heard it in many forms of late in the last few months. Blessed, lucky, grateful to be alive. Well, we've made it this far in a year when we felt that the rug had been pulled out from underneath us. But perhaps at the same time, there was no way to stand up and feel grounded enough to keep our balance. So my New Year message is headed with this quote from J.R.R. Tolkien. Still round the corner may wait a new year or a secret gate. I'm looking forward to the new year, as many of us are right now. I have spent my life looking for inspiration in every corner of the positive and negative aspects of life. But I am always looking for that secret gate, as Tolkien so aptly says. Our sense of healthy balance and playfulness relies on that search. And I hope you will all be inspired to keep that in mind. So right now, I have a sincere and personal message to share with everyone who is listening. My heart goes out to everyone who has experienced loss this year. Whether it was a loved one, for those who have lost their businesses or jobs, for those who have lost their homes. I want to use my show today to suggest that for everyone listening, you can follow my lead in reaching out to help others. I want to walk forward in 2021, helping a family in need, and that might come in the form of paying for their groceries or just simple guidance. We can always find a few dollars to give to others who may not be as fortunate as we are right now, and we can always share our knowledge. If there is ever a way to create grace, well, here it is. So let's welcome in 2021 the generous way, with hope and care. There are so many ways, so many avenues, so many needy hands that could use that care right now. And I'm going to go one step further now and welcome my favorite guest and my partner in passion for film and the art of living, Mr. Matt Mickelson.
Hello.
You are back.
Yes, apparently so.
You're not imitating me this time. You didn't do the lead-in.
No, did you get mad last time?
No, I didn't. It was actually one of those bold moments I will remember you fondly.
Are you doing Mrs. Doubtfire? No, I'm making fun of you.
And my little operatic dulcet tones. Oh my gosh. Matt, we're going to discuss the art of living today while ushering out 2020. First of all, how was your Christmas?
Quiet.
Ah.
Thankfully, it was nice and comfortable and quiet, and everybody was happy. No big accidents, and no weird relatives showing up or anything like that. So
yeah, the silver linings
took it
part.
Easy.
That gets back to the silver linings. I think all of us had quiet Christmases. At least I hope we all did, and many had Zoom Christmases, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hope many are looking forward to the big virtual Zoom New Year's Eve galas, which I hear are abounding on the internet, which I love the idea of. The safest way to go, and maybe the most fabulous. I mean, you can get ready in your own home. If you lose your tiara, you can just go back and readjust it. I mean, we're doing
Cousin
okay.
Eddie doesn't stop by and, take care of his motorhome in your local sewer.
Exactly.
That there, Clark, is an RV.
All right, well, we have to admit 2020 has been a remarkable year. Good or bad.
A little bit,
right?
Yeah.
We've seen streaming movies and television as an art form. I mean, that you and I have loved, right?
Oh, yeah. It's been kind of God, imagine if this happened 10 years ago when it was just reality TV.
I would have killed myself.
I think we'd all be dead by now. Not from the virus either, just from, I can't take another game show.
Exactly.
Being sold to me as a, drama. But, the problem that we have these days is there's so much good stuff, it's hard to catch up with it.
Mm-hmm, it is.
And it's all good. I mean, Queen's Gambit good.
Queen's
Breaking
Gambit,
Bad good. Mad Men good.
Magnificent. And I've just discovered Schitt's Creek.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, on your
Dive on.
recommendation. Oh my gosh.
Bye.
Why did I wait this long? I mean, the first episode I was kind of in shock, but it gets right into it, and what a
No, my
good
girls
idea.
have watched it like Friends. They've watched every season like 10 times over, and they know all the jokes and when they're coming and the whole thing.
So the other thing we've done is raise Zoom to an art form. It's
Oh, yeah.
brilliant. And I'm not a technical person, but I really dig the whole Zoom thing.
We're all experts now, apparently.
I guess apparently.
No, I didn't know where the buttons were either when, like, the first couple of them, and
Yeah, my big challenge has
Yeah.
been like unmute.
yeah, because there's a couple of buttons on there that just look like stray hairs might be on your screen or something, that aren't really buttons. So
It could wreak havoc.
Those are hard to find. Like the one to change your background. That it's just a little arrow that kind of looks like you scratch. So apparently it's a major button.
And you are a film guy talking about this. I mean,
Yeah.
that shows how all of us have had to raise our own personal bars.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
lot.
you get comfortable in your own little programs that you use for your whatever it is that you do, and then you're asked to do something on a regular basis with something totally new, and you're supposed to act like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that whole supposed to act like you know what you're doing thing still
Yeah.
has me a little bit, though.
Yeah, I don't get it.
And then we've had the wearing of masks. I've made it theatrical, as you all know, and here we are.
Yeah.
We're actually filming this, and I can pull up my little sequin mask, and I love it. You've got, what do you have here
I've
for
got
your
my
mask?
Van Halen mask.
I love it. It is so sexy.
I didn't buy it. It was a gift because everyone knows I love the Van Halen. So
And one of our great losses. this
yeah,
year.
I didn't play guitar for a month. I was floored.
I'm so sorry.
You know.
The world is so sorry.
Yeah,
for
well,
the
it's
many
hard.
losses.
I mean, when your heroes are gone, it hits you a lot, pretty hard, especially if you tried to emulate those heroes and their abilities. Over a course of 30 years, it kind of creeps up on you.
Did you see some of the videos that were done, interviews with him, showing him talking about how he made those guitar sounds, how he created his guitar?
No.
Oh, that was just fantastic.
Yeah, I've got a
stuff.
couple at home.
He was gone just as he was getting interesting, as so many
Oh,
people
I
say.
know. Yeah, I mean, he was only 65, and I had a couple of friends that had the opportunity to meet him. I'm so jealous, but you never hear of anybody that didn't say, "Oh, he's such a great guy,"
Wow. That's
and,
tremendous.
And he was such an innovator, but he had zero outward ego on it. Maybe to other fellow musicians that he played with, I don't know, but to the general public, he's just, hey man, I'm a punk kid that plays guitar who got lucky. That's
So-
how he
Although
sums
all
it
of us
up.
watching it, no, that's not true.
Yeah,
He was just inspired.
yeah.
So educate me. Was he trying to take the limits of the guitar to to the extremes?
No, he started out on Eric Clapton. He was learning Eric Clapton tunes, and just at some point he started picking stuff apart and wanted to get a certain sound, and
Yeah.
that guitar was just a bastardization of a Les Paul and a Fender. Because he liked the low end of a Les Paul, but the high end of a Fender, and Les Pauls are heavy.
Yeah.
And that rear pickup was slanted because it would get a lower note on the sixth string, but a higher glisteny tone on the top E string where he would play a solo, and that had never been done before. And now it's a thing.
Very cool.
And now that they do that internally to help you pick that up, but he reinvented, and plus, along with the Bee Gees documentary, Van Halen is the band that saved rock and roll from disco, because rock and roll was moving to the back. The guitar was going to the back, and the orchestra was coming up forward, and everyone had
Amazing.
strings on their songs, which annoyed the garbage out of me. But
And they weren't real strings either.
Yeah, exactly.
well, exactly. Every John Denver song had like a violin section.
Correct.
That just played one note like for 3 minutes, but he's the one that I have all kinds of euphemisms that they used in magazines to talk about them. They were like Led Zeppelin with hairier chests or something like that, and or they were basically they kicked the door down on disco and pushed the guitar forward in your face. You couldn't avoid it, just because it was just so. It wasn't just loud noise. David Lee Roth called it big rock because it was just big. It was huge. It was you couldn't avoid it for whatever reason. It wasn't like, some of its mellows, and you could listen to it in the background. No, it demanded your attention.
So, ladies and gentlemen, to all my listeners
I could go
out
on
here,
all day.
This is Matt Nicholson at his most inspired outside of all the films you love. That was amazing. This testament to Van Halen right now. How wonderful. And Bob Small, thank you for adding that, because to all our listeners, they need to go out and discover right now.
Oh, and the big thing
fun.
was, everyone thought it was the guitar that made it so different. Everyone forgets that they had like 4-part harmonies in all their songs, and that's what separated from all those other bands like Rat and Poison and all those guys. That nobody else was doing the harmonies. They just thought, well, if you have a loud guitar, that'll do it. You know, no, you got to because these guys used to do like barbershop quartet type stuff, and his dad was a clarinetist, so they kind of grew up doing big band stuff.
Real musicians.
and plus David Lee Roth was a big Louis Prima fan.
wow.
Shooby dooby, pennies from heaven. That guy, who and if you go back and listen to that, it's got Van Halen all over it because David Lee Roth copies Louis Prima like crazy.
Yeah.
Which is great.
I did not expect this out of you today, and this is fantastic. This is really fun. But you know what? I got to tell you, my favorite Van Halen moment is really in Back to the Future. The way the headphones go on, he's asleep. Yeah, we know the story. Okay, shall we
Darth
move?
Vader came down and he said, if I don't ask you out on a date, he's going to melt my brain.
That is one of the funniest moments to me of all time. My God in heaven. Anyway, moving on. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
We can make this show into Van
I can
Halen
do
if
5
you want.
shows on Van Halen if you want.
One of the things I've loved about, and I'm trying to stay positive here, folks, because God knows we've known the negative too much, is being able to go to work in loungewear. And me personally, I'm just thrilled not to have to schlep into New York all the time. I've really enjoyed that.
Going to New York's a pain.
It's difficult for those of us who drive, isn't
Yeah.
it? Or for those of
Yeah.
us who live out in the burbs.
Maybe for coffee?
Matt.
Yeah, I'm going to drop $40 on tolls and parking.
And parking.
So I can go have coffee with you.
That's no, $40 is for the parking alone. Let's
Yeah.
Hello. And so what has stood out for you, Matt? I mean, besides Van Halen, what has stood out for you in 2020 that you can
Oh, God.
comes to your mind immediately?
It's just like everything that can go wrong is going wrong. It's like we had it good for so long, and we got into this position where we thought we deserved all the goodies without really working for it. And then all the bad decisions started happening. Like when you become famous and go on a cocaine binge or something like that, all of a sudden you wake up in a dumpster in Las Vegas, with a dead stripper. So, and you got to explain your way out of that. But
I feel the movie coming on.
as a
I
society,
really miss my sound effects.
Yeah, exactly.
you have a dead stripper sound effect.
Well,
Oh, Bob.
something.
Womp, womp. Yeah, that's been the year. Womp womp. Hey, this is bad. Hey, this is also bad. Coming your way. That's why everyone's like, well, where are the aliens? Where's the asteroid? Where's the next thing? Because the hits just keep coming. And we're all just dying to get back to some kind of normalcy where we could breathe again, and it's not happening. We could see it down the road if we could, pull our collective heads out of the what euphemism could I use? The drawer we have it locked in. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
drawer's good.
if we could do that, then we could look at each other once again and say, hey, you're just like me. Maybe I don't want to step over you on the street if you're starving to death, and I got, a wad of hundreds burning a hole in my pocket. Maybe we should all, take a minute and slow down and become better people again.
Maybe we should. Maybe this
Because
has
the
been
80s
our
is
calling.
old, man.
This is it. I think it is. I think we've been forced to slow down and look within, reflect. And you know what I want out of this? To go forward. I want to walk forward, and I want to challenge everybody out there to be an empathetic leader. I don't want to hear victim anymore. I know, forgive me, my listeners. As I said in the beginning, I feel so passionate about everyone who's lost a job or lost all their savings. I will give my money away to you if I can. But I want everybody to just pull themselves up now and be the America we've always known. We've been challenged with chaos in the last couple of years. I'm really hoping with this transition to our new president, who I'm really looking to bind us together, will be smooth, and we can walk without. And I want everybody to stand up and be strong.
Well, I'm looking to everybody to stand up too and be bindable. You know, we can't just look to one guy and say, "Oh, you're going to fix everything."
That's right.
You know, while we sit back and watch some more Netflix. No, we have to actually put our money where our mouth is, or
Yep.
do what we say everyone else should do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But or we can't just, what do they call it, virtue signaling or something like that, where you say you're doing a good thing, or you take a video of you handing a $20 bill to somebody, then cut the camera and take the bill
Then you
back.
take the bill back.
You know?
Let's
But it's on
just leave
Facebook.
it.
It's true. Because that's one thing living around New York the past 15 years that has pained me, is having to go through the city and see homeless people, and you try to help somebody, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, because they're not in the right headspace to be able to take the help, or on the opposite, you know, direction. You know, you have to deal with people that don't even see it. You know, their heads so far in the clouds that they don't even see below their nose to see all the devastation that they're walking through or leaving behind.
Who's suffering?
You know, or you know, or who's an accident carrier.
That's a very good point, actually. That's a good way to put it, because it's right in front of us all the time. And the simplest thing that we tend to overlook.
Yeah.
God knows we have the time now to be able to see. It's just our
Well,
responsibility
because
to
we've
really
slowed
look.
down, you know, and instead of, you know, working 12 hours a day and then 3-hour commute, you know, we're actually sitting at home and listening to our children and talking to them, and seeing what happens in your yard and in the neighborhood, and just maybe meeting your neighbors for the first time.
For the first time.
Or just you know, I mean, I just keep on picturing in my head scenes of the 70s where you just kind of sat around, smoked cigarettes, drank beer, and visited with your neighbors and your cousins and everybody, and you didn't really watch TV because there wasn't really anything on in the day, you know, and cartoons were over by 11.
Hold on. Wait. For this kid who grew up in the middle of nowhere in Eastern Oregon, I did watch TV all the time because that was my outlet. So I gotta say, you know, there were some of us that were doing that. I didn't smoke the cigarettes, but never mind.
I'm just trying to make myself look good here. But my dad did drag me around and say, "Oh, we're going to go stop by cousin so-and-so's house." Did we call them first? What?
Yeah.
Call them? Why would we do that?
Yeah, let's just
no,
drop
we're just
in.
going to drop in because we know they're going to be sitting in the garagio. That's a garage you turn into your patio that has a fridge full of beer in it, or the little tap on the thing. But people, they'd sit around and talk all day, you know, or they'd stop at the neighborhood bar and
Good point.
and stuff like that.
You're right.
And,
You're right. You're absolutely right.
but now we're just all parked in front of that thing that we point at the TV, or on the thing that we point at the TV.
Yeah, but we can watch The Mandalorian, can't we? I mean,
Yes.
copious times.
Yeah, that
over
makes it all
and
right.
over and over again. Listen, along these lines, I mean, you're talking about taking the time. I think this is our time of reckoning. I think this is a moment for so many people who perhaps have had, they've just been running around in the squirrel cage, you know, doing something they've hated. This is a chance for them to stop. Maybe they lost their job. Maybe they've been given an opportunity to like look at it and go, wait a minute, I can do something else. I can turn 180 degrees. I can
Yeah.
actually give back. I can actually do something where I can be with my kids all the time, forever and ever, not just during the pandemic. I mean, these are marvelous moments. These are little gifts, you know.
No, I mean, my kids are the best people I know, and I mean, I have friends that I grew up with that never knew their dad. You know,
I know, it's
or
sad.
you know, or they always saw their parents fighting, you know, because of lack of money or no time to see their kids, or you know, all the other demands. But also, you know, instead of the apocalypse, you know, and everyone being eliminated, so to speak, maybe this is the apocalypse where we're just told to, why don't you just sit down, shut up, and relax, and take an assessment, and I'll get back to you. You know, as opposed to fire and brimstone.
Yeah.
I would prefer that.
You're kind of blowing my mind right now.
Let's all sit in the desert for a little bit, like Moses, and chill out and stop killing your friends.
I thought you were drinking coffee when I came in. Did you?
Well, I brought in a little something, you know.
You are so revved up today. I love it because it's
Yeah.
true. That's a really interesting way to look at this. Maybe this is the apocalypse. Maybe this is our dead reckoning. You know, it's how we come out of it that matters.
Yeah, because so many people are out there dying for something to happen, and if it doesn't happen, then they're going to be mad and have to do something else.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm not going to point any fingers to anybody particular, but you know who you are.
Yeah. And we can do something about that to
Yeah.
make it positive. We can get up
Yeah.
and work, and we can give, and we can
Yeah.
share.
So instead of putting your gun in my face, why don't you give $20 to the guy who you see 5 feet over that can't afford lunch today?
Mhm.
That
Agreed.
would be much better,
Agreed.
I think. And
You hear that, folks? You got to go out there and you got to give. I tell you, it's the
And it's
only
not-
way forward.
And it's not just poor people, go see your neighbor or something, or call your neighbor that doesn't have any family stopping by.
It's
Something.
connection, isn't it?
Yes, that's all it is. That's why
It's-
we're here. That's why we do what we do. That's why we're not sitting under a rock, eating microbes like a snail or whatever,
Microbes.
I don't know.
Van Halen, now we're at microbes. I love it. So, but I gotta say, if I'm really truthful, I probably had a little too much time with my husband on our own. I'd love a little downtime. I'd love a little trip to the Caribbean. I have to swim there.
Mhm.
And the dog, our little lovely Yorkie, Madison, I watch her sometimes as she watches us. She senses any tension. She'll look up at us like, am I going to be fed tonight? Is it going to be okay, Mom and Dad?
Am I going to be dinner?
And that's the other thing that's happened this year, people adopting pets.
Oh,
For
yeah.
some people, this is their family. This is all they've got.
Yeah.
But it's been the most marvelous happening. And all these poor homeless animals, they found a home.
Yeah, our dog has been a godsend.
It's true, isn't it?
Because it just forces everyone to be calmer, and
Yeah.
and it's just so darn cute, and I get accused of feeding it all the time.
And,
But
and there's more humanity in their face than many of us give to each other. I mean, we can learn from our pets.
Oh, yeah.
There's no question about
it's like,
it.
why are you yelling tilt to the head?
And I've got to tell
thing.
you, with The Mandalorian, everyone out there knows that we are sickeningly dedicated to this show. But
Do you want
why-
to talk about the Mandalorian? Is that where you
Yeah, I
get?
keep
Okay.
leading back to it. The thing about this show, again, it's nauseating coming from me all the time, but this show is about honor.
Oh yeah.
And, in this world right now,
a little
what are we
lacking.
talking about today? We
Yeah.
want to see honor. We want to see that dedication. He says, I am tasked to take care of this child. Oh my gosh, if we could all be given that task, if we
Mhm.
could all find our personal journey, our hero's journey, what a
where,
world
where did
this
he
would
find
be.
the love that got into it?
Because
That wasn't part of the task.
But remember in the beginning when he was rescued by his mom and dad, who literally put him in a box
Mhm.
to protect him, from being killed, and he reaches up, like Grogu always does, the baby Yoda,
Yeah.
and there's just that connection, and you see in the very first episode,
The little Sistine Chapel action
the
right there?
fingers come together to want to meet, and so we're getting back to what we've been talking about all this show about connection.
Yeah.
And here we are with a little Muppet and a guy whose face we never see. But yet, we're back there just going, yes! I mean, we want to be a hero,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And that also gets back to Rogue One. Same thing happened with
Right.
what was her name?
Never, moving on.
Okay. But the Mandalorian has just been getting just so good, and it's such a simple approach, but they've been keeping it gritty and dirty like we know Star Warsville to be.
Yeah.
And they've been keeping it simple. And we know the bad guys are bad, and we know the good guys are good, and we know the guys in the
That's
middle
it.
are constantly fighting that
I
battle.
think they fleshed out the bad guys better than any other
So
Star
do I.
Wars series
So
ever
do I.
did.
the scene with Bill Burr
Yes.
where he gets to do the Tarantino
Well,
scene.
where there was a conversation though with the bad
Yes.
guy, and you really got a sense of why he believed in being who he was.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
it was like the scene in Inglorious Bastards, with the Nazi officer talking to the French farmer.
Yeah.
That was a 30-minute table scene, and that they just kept wrenching up the tension, and they did
Yep.
the same thing with this scene,
Yep.
and Bill Burr freaking knocked it out of the park.
It was
And
fantastic.
his acting partner, I forget the guy's name, but and who better than Bill Burr to, go, oh yeah, All the people that died, that was a good thing? I don't think they think that. Who? The dead people.
He wasn't going to let it
and
go.
just I mean, when he actually just stood up and put that guy away, I jumped out of my couch and went, whoa! You know, I mean, that I wanted that to happen so badly, and then it did. And I didn't expect it because I wanted it, you know.
And there are no victims.
And that was his Han Solo moment.
There are no victims in this show. It's all about you're either going to get up and say this is the way, or I have spoken, or you know, it's all about this personal creed to being personally very strong, and it's all about character. All these things we're talking about, the leadership, the taking responsibility moving forward, even if it means just wearing a mask. I'm just pulling it around to our original theme now.
Now, is that actually in the show? They actually talk about there are no victims here. Everyone is participating of their own free will. Or that could have been in another movie. Sorry.
No, I don't. We can't be running out of time. We have to go on forever.
I know.
I cannot believe
Between
this.
Van Halen and The Mandalorian, you know, we could go on all day.
I want you to notice that we started this show with "We Can Work It Out" by the Beatles, and that there's a good message in that. We can work it out, can't we? For 2021.
I think we need to.
And we're going to. And you and I are going to be responsible. Bob Small's going to join us. No Mandalorian for a year. I don't know how we're going to do it here. We'll all be weeping.
More than a year.
And you have to finish Han Solo Chronicles.
Yes, please.
Abso-frickin-lutely. In fact, can you just give me a bit part in it?
Of course.
I would just love that.
I need some stunt people that are good with explosives, you know?
Well, she's explosive at times.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so to end this today, everybody, get up and do something. Get up and be strong. Be an honorable person. Have the honor we're talking about in The Mandalorian. And I want to repeat again that J.R.R. Tolkien quote I made the show start with. Still round the corner may wait a new year or a secret gate. Let's all find the secret gate, you know? With a childlike wonder, folks, I'm going to leave you now. Thank you, Matt Mickelson. Thank you, Bob Small, for being on Center Stage. And this is Pamela Kuhn, and the curtain is now down on Center Stage.
That good? You got to do that over. There you go.
I like.
Is that good? Okay. Wait till I actually put something in my coffee. No, Christmas morning I had rum in my coffee. That kind of got things going.